It's a very warm welcome to all our viewers and welcome to a new episode of Inside the Middle East, our show that brings you all the latest news and developments concerning the Middle East region. My name is Angie Meher, delighted to be in your company this afternoon. And of course, we start straight away with a look at the news making the headlines. We move to a cargo ship that came under attack on Sunday off the coast of Yemen in the Red Sea, according to a statement by the British military. United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Centre reported the attack off Yemen, saying the ship reported being under attack by unknown armed assailants. No group has immediately claimed the attack. However, Yemen's Houthi rebels have threatened to begin attacking ships again, though they have not been carrying out these attacks. Meanwhile, Egypt and Turkey have signed a memorandum of understanding on international transport corridors in order to boost regional connectivity. They said this agreement aims to integrate transport networks linking Asia, Africa and the Arab region, whilst enhancing trade and logistics connectivity. The deal was also signed during a visit by the Minister of Transport Kemal El-Wazir to Turkey to participate in the Turkish Maritime Summit. Still with our news, 7 OPEC Plus members are likely to raise oil production quotas on Sunday as Gulf countries are continuing to reel from the situation in the Middle East war. Saudi Arabia, Russia and 5 other members of the enlarged organization of the petroleum exporting countries, the OPEC Plus, are meeting online on Sunday to discuss quotas for August. Meanwhile, analysts say that OPEC Plus will likely continue to unwind the production cuts at the same pace like in the previous months, predicting an increase of about 188,000 barrels per day. And with that, we wrap up some of the news making the headlines for now. We take you now to a short break and we'll be right back to begin the discussion of today's topic, which are the recent developments in Libya and, of course, Egyptian efforts with regards to reaching diplomatic solutions in Libya. Stay tuned for that after the short break.
The Tigris and Euphrates rivers serve as the primary freshwater lifeblood for the Fertile Crescent, originating in the highlands of Turkey before flowing through Syria and Iraq. According to the UN, Turkey controls over 90% of the Euphrates flow and roughly 75% of Tigris flow at their headwaters, granting it immense geopolitical leverage over downstream neighbors. The Nile River, while primarily African, is the foundational water source for Egypt, providing the country with more than 90% of its annual renewable water supply. The Jordan River Basin is one of the most physically stressed systems in the world, with its historic annual flow drastically reduced by over 90% due to extensive agricultural diversions and climate impacts. The Dead Sea, which is fed primarily by the Jordan River, is shrinking at an alarming rate of roughly 1 to 1.2 meters per year due to this severe upstream depletion. Agriculture is the most taxing sector on the region's surface water, accounting for nearly 85% of total freshwater withdrawals across the Middle East and North Africa. Climate change models project that rising temperatures and altered rainfall patterns will reduce the annual flow of the Tigris-Euphrates system by up to 25% by the end of the century. Transboundary water management remains a critical challenge as over 60% of the region's surface water resources cross one or more international borders without comprehensive treaty coverage. To mitigate this severe scarcity, Middle Eastern nations are increasingly pairing their river management with heavy investments in seawater desalination and advanced wastewater recycling.
Welcome back, and of course, as said earlier today, we discuss the recent developments with regards to the situation in Libya and the depth of efforts by Egypt to reach a political settlement in Libya. For this, we are delighted to be joined this afternoon by Dr. Mohamad Ezaby, the Professor of International Relations. Dr. Mohamad, good afternoon to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your time this afternoon. A pleasure to have you with us on the afternoon's edition of Inside the Middle East. Now, Doctor, of course, we discussing the recent developments with regards to the situation in Libya. First and foremost, how do you see the efforts undertaken by the Egyptian state as well as Egyptian diplomacy to encourage the reaching of a political settlement to the crisis in Libya?
Well, first we must know that Libya suffers from division in the government system. It's divided into two parts. The first part in the east, led by Khalifa Haftar and the parliament, and in the west, the government of unity, led by Dibeba, and always, as His Excellency President Abdel Fattah Sisi say, that we want to save the unity of all Arab lands, and we support the national arms, and we support the national governments. Egypt made a lot of efforts to unify the lands of Libya and to delay or cancel the division into the government system in Libya, and they tried to unify the government system. And Egypt announced many times that we need to start a new presidential elections in Libya, and the Libyan people choose who they want to be governed by. So Egypt now made a lot of efforts and arrangements between Egypt and Turkey, and Egypt and the United States try to make a kind of dividing the authority, or one authority, by Dibeba and Khalifa Haftar, and unify the lands of Libya. These efforts, at the last time, we saw the first visit for General Hassan Rashad, the leader of Egyptian intelligence, General Intelligence.
Indeed, Dr. Mohamad, as you said, this, of course, also has clear significance that the Egyptian intelligence chief Hassan Rashad chooses Tripoli for the first major official visit. This also underlines the importance of ties and the weight that is put on the situation in Libya, and how it also affects Egypt and the efforts by Egypt in this regard.
Well, you know, in any struggle, Egypt have a balanced relations between all parts in the same struggle. As we saw in Iran, Egypt have agreed balanced relations with Iran, with the United States, with China, with the Gulf countries. Here also in Libya, Egypt have a balanced relations between Khalifa Haftar in the east and Dibeba in the west. So this visit gave a great significance that Egypt put a spot on how to unify the government system in Libya. The visit of General Hassan Rashad to Tripoli means that Egypt tried to make some arrangements between Abdel Dibeba and Khalifa Haftar to announce a new elections for a House of Representatives, a new elections for a presidential election in Libya. Even Dibeba and Khalifa Haftar share in this election as under the umbrella of one main goal. The main goal for Egypt is unifying the land of Libya, unifying the government system in Libya, save the Libyan people, and how to manage the treasures of Libya by Libyan people and Libyan government, try to stop any kind of struggle between Khalifa Haftar and Abdel Dibeba.
Indeed, Dr. Mohamad, as you said, a very important role being played here by Egypt, as well as the introduction of other parties, the intelligence chiefs from Egypt, Turkey and Italy, all landing in Libya. Why do you see the situation in Libya, or the crisis in the country, has become more of an intelligence diplomacy more than before, adding, of course, to the standard foreign ministry challenge?
One of the main reasons of the struggle in Libya in the last years was that some powers of the world and some countries support Hamid Dibeiba, and some other countries support Khalifa Haftar.
Yes.
No one tried to make a solution between Khalifa Haftar and Hamid Dibeiba. After the relation between Egypt and Turkey became a very strong relation after the visit of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Ankara, and the visit of Recep Tayyip Erdogan to Egypt, they unify the situation about Libya. They try now to unify the government system, Egypt and Turkey, after a great diplomacy effort from His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Dr. Badr Abdel Ati with Hakam Fidan, made about some kind of deal about Libya, how to save the unity of the Libyan land, how to support both sides, both parties, to share in the next government, how to share in making a new elections, how to support the Libyan National Army and support also the national government, which will be chosen by the Libyan people. So the main effort between Egypt and Turkey gave an indication that now no way to divide Libya again, no way for any other country try to support a party in front of the other party. Also, the situation of the American diplomacy, which try to push and dividing the government system between Dibeiba and Khalifa Haftar in the one government which supports the situation of Egypt and Turkey, gave a push for both parties to sit on one table and make negotiations about the future of Libya.
Absolutely.
So Egypt, by their diplomacy, tried to save, as I said, the unity of the land of Libya, tried to save, to support Libyan National Army, tried to support about the next elections.
Yes, indeed. Now, Dr. Mohamad, speaking of the American initiative to try and reach a political settlement in Libya, what, in your opinion, makes the U.S. approach different this time round from previous international attempts to reach a settlement in Libya?
Any reason led the United States to change their opinion about Libya, especially they know now the strong of Egyptians, how the Egyptian diplomacy is very strong, how Egyptian diplomacy shared United States to solve the struggle of Iran, how the Egyptian diplomacy shared United States to stop Gaza war. So they now believe that no solution for the Middle East without crossing from the Egyptian gate and the Egyptian diplomacy gate. So after an effort from His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Dr. Badr Abdel Ati with the United States, they convinced them to change their mind about Libya, try to support the project which announced by Egypt and Turkey to push the both parties to share in the next government. So now United States know how Egypt is very strong, how Egypt diplomacy can help United States to solve many struggles all over the world. We can't forget that after ending the struggle between India and Pakistan, we saw the Prime Minister of Pakistan thanks Egypt to share and stop this war. So the role of Egypt not stop on Gaza and Iran and Libya, but spread to all over the world.
Indeed.
So now Egypt diplomacy as a gate of a decision in the Middle East, made the United States to change their mind and support the situation of of Turkey and Egypt.
Yes, indeed. Now, this Bolus initiative, as it's known, proposes making Haftar president of the Presidential Council and keeping Dbeibeh as prime minister. How do you see this proposal as a realistic power-sharing formula, if you may?
Well, as I said, after the efforts of Egyptian diplomacy and after the visit of General Hassan Rashad to Tripoli, they convinced Dbeibeh to start negotiations with Khalifa Haftar, to start to divide the authority between Khalifa Haftar and Dbeibeh and on one government. So this visit gave many indications that Egypt pushed to unify the government system in Libya under the umbrella of support, American support and Turkey support for this proposal. So if we succeed to achieve this proposal between Tripoli and Benghazi, so Egypt will not suffer again from many things that threaten the national security of Egypt.
Yes.
We know illegal immigration from Libya, terrorism which come from Libya,
yes.
Many things that threaten the national security of Egypt.
Yes, indeed.
So, but Egypt tried to save their national security.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Mohamad, the Major General Rashad, warned during his visit that no political settlement can be reached or can work even without addressing the issue of the armed militias in the West. As you mentioned, security and stability are key. How can any initiative, in your opinion, aim to bypass or disarm these groups?
Well, almost His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi announced that we support national army. Any country have any kind of militia beside the national army will not have a stable security. So General Hassan Rashad, by announcing that we need to stop any kind of militia, we want to send the outside militia from Libya to their countries.
Yes.
It means that Hamid Dbeibeh must support the Libyan National Army,
yes.
And it will be only one army in Libya. And if we saw a lot of militia in Libya, it means that Libya will not settle again, and we will not have security in Libya, because the militia will make a lot of troubles with the Libyan army. So by announcement of General Hassan Rashad to Dbeibeh that we need Dbeibeh who controls the militia in the West, and he must order them to let the weapon and be involved in the Libyan National Army to save the unity of the Libyan people.
Indeed. Dr. Mohamad, of course, we can't, discuss the situation in Libya without discussing the role of, the massive tribal network. They also have a very big role to play with regards to the new agreements, the new arrangements. Why are these tribes considered a make or break factor for stability in Libya?
Well, we know that what is happening in Libya make Egypt suffer from many points.
Yes.
The main point is terrorism. The second point is illegal immigration. Many things that threaten the Egyptian national security. So Egypt tried to move to save our national security. So we must support this deal and work to make a deal and a proposal between Dbeibeh and Khalifa Haftar, just to save the Egyptian national security. And always His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi announced in many speeches that we don't need to make a struggle. We must solve any problem, any struggle by diplomacy negotiations. So Egypt supports the negotiation. Even Egypt supports to make face-to-face negotiations between East and West in Libya. to end any kind of struggle, and they must put an end for the militia in Libya, and both sides support the only one thing, which is national Libyan army.
Absolutely. Now, Dr. Mohamad, we've also seen the Italian intelligence chief also in Benghazi stressing and calling for a resolution. What, in your opinion, are Rome's primary security and economic anxieties when it comes to the Libyan deadlock, specifically for Italy?
But we know that, like the relations between France and Lebanon, we know the relations between Italy and Libya. By this visit from Italy to the east in Libya, we know that the problem which suffers, which all the world suffers, which is oil. So Libya, as a country, have a lot of oil and can be easily to support European countries by oil, because they didn't need to pass through Hormuz Strait. It's one main point for this visit. Also, the other point is how to support the negotiations between East and West, between Haftar and Dibiba, and how to save the unity of the Libyan land, and how to can use all the Libyan oil to support the European economy. So it is important for Europe to solve any struggle in Libya. So by this visit from the chief of intelligence of Italy to Benghazi, it means that also European countries support the vision of Egypt and Turkey in solving this struggle and put an end for this.
Indeed, right. And finally, Doctor, before we wrap up, of course, analysts are saying that this reflects a serious effort towards consensus, which is different from the previous round of negotiations and agreements. If, in your opinion, the current arrangements take place, how do you see the change in the region if stability is finally achieved in Libya and a more democratic process begins with elections, etc.?
We know that Egypt is surrounded by many struggles. We saw the struggle in Sudan, we saw the struggle in Libya, and struggle of Horn of Africa and in Gaza. So Egypt tried to put an end for one struggle, then they will think in another struggle to end. Egypt need to focus their interest how to build Egypt and how to continue in their in saving their security, international national security. So this time Egypt give a push, not only Egypt, but with Turkey, Italy, European countries, United States, to make a proposal between Khalifa Haftar and Dibiba. So this time is completely different. We can reach to a real deal between both sides, and we will end one struggle on our border and start to think to how to solve another struggle on the other our border.
Indeed, right. We will leave it at that. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Dr. Mohamad Ezaby, Professor of International Relations, who is joining us live over Zoom here on Inside the Middle East at our studios at Nile TV International. Many thanks, sir, for your time and your insight in today's episode. And of course, to wrap up the recent developments in Libya, we have a report on the latest efforts by Egypt to reach a political settlement in Libya. Let's take a look.
Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati affirmed Egypt's firm stance supporting the unity and stability of Libya. He stressed the importance of unifying the national institutions and reaching a comprehensive political settlement through an inter-Libyan track that paves the way for holding presidential and parliamentary elections simultaneously as soon as possible. This came during a phone call between Abdelati and Mas'ad Boulos, the senior advisor to the U.S. President for Arab and African Affairs. Within the same context, the chief of Egypt's General Intelligence, Hassan Rashad, paid his first visit to Tripoli since assuming office in October 2024 last week. He said the trip came amid heightened political activity shaped by Egyptian-Turkish coordination and a parallel U.S. initiative, both aimed at restoring stability in Libya. The head of the Turkish Intelligence Service and head of the Italian Intelligence and External Security Service also visited Tripoli recently.
And with this report, we wrap up today's episode of Inside the Middle East, where we brought you some of the most recent news and headlines and developments in the Middle East region in different sectors, as well as focused on the recent situation and the developments of a political settlement and efforts by the Egyptian state in reaching a political settlement inside Libya. We do hope you have enjoyed our company over this last half hour. And you were in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Thank you for watching.